Hi, I'm Trevor Williams with Global Atlanta. We're here with Brian Hill, who is the Executive Director of the Atlanta Dogwood Festival, which is in its 73rd year here in Atlanta. Mr. Hill, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for being here as well.
Why don't you tell us just generally a little bit about the Dogwood Festival, what it is, and what kinds of activities are available, when it's going to be held, and things like that.
Gotcha. Well, the Atlanta Dogwood Festival is Atlanta's oldest festival in its 73rd year, and it's the best loved festival in Atlanta, voted repeatedly to be the people's favorite festival. We attract anywhere from 120 to 150,000 people over a 3-day period, and that 3-day period in 2009 will be April 17th, 18th, and 19th. And the festival is a mix of fine art. It's rated as one of the better art festivals in the country. We have fine art, we have music, we even have a Frisbee dog championship. So it's a big variety of activities and entertainment for the community. It was actually started by Walter Rich right after the Great Depression to cheer people up and so forth. So we're hoping it has that same effect this year and brings people out and cheers them up and welcomes into spring.
And tell us a little bit more about the art and where the artists come from, how many people submit, and do they do sales and things like that?
Sure. Well, we'll have about 275 artist booths, which will be our largest artist market yet. And artists go online and submit from around the country and some from around the world, and they have to go through a jurying process. We have jurors that represent elements of the art community, the educational community, and so forth, and they rate the submissions. We get over 1,000 submissions on average per year. And they rate the submissions and qualify them under a point system, and only the best of the best artists that submitted will get into the festival to fill those 275 spots.
And where is the festival usually held?
It's at Piedmont Park, or has been traditionally. Unfortunately, last year was a bit of a hiccup for everybody. Due to the drought, the city chose not to have any events in Piedmont Park. So we found that out 80 days before the opening of the festival. So we did a lot of quick work and searched diligently everywhere we could to hold the festival, and ultimately ended up in the parking lot of Lenox Mall. And the greatest irony of that is we were moved from Piedmont Park because of a drought, and it rained 3 out of 4 days.
Wow.
So we were a little unfortunate.
It's amazing. Well, tell me a little bit about your personal history, how you got into, first of all, to Atlanta, and how you got into your role as the executive director here.
Well, I used to be a photojournalist with the military when I first started out, and I moved to Europe, spent over 20 years there because I got into, believe it or not, producing and promoting festivals through England and Germany, and had done an event for the Barcelona Olympics, and our clients wanted us to come over and do some events here. So we moved from Germany and came to Atlanta in '94, and I was going to be leaving, but I've been here ever since.
And your previous position was with Centennial Olympic Park?
It was. I was the assistant general manager, and we took over right after the games, and it was just mud and dreams at that point. They had a good plan in place, but nobody really knew what the park would become. So my job was to contract the events, to be a producer of events that the park hosted itself, and just to develop its sponsorship, the money that went into actually keeping an ongoing program alive. And I did that for 10 great years, and it's still going strong there, but I was ready for a new challenge.
And in those 10 years, I guess, since you've been in Atlanta, you've probably seen the international communities grow here quite significantly.
Oh, absolutely. Centennial Olympic Park was a magnet for that because of its relationship to the games and all the athletes from around the world. So we would meet a lot of the people that were either tourists coming from outside wanting to see the park, or we've quickly found a lot of people from different cultures lived here in Atlanta. So we developed some activities that were related to the many cultures that we have in Atlanta.
And how did you kind of get the message out and start to internationalize those programs?
Well, what we would do is reach out to their community, find out where they found out about the park if they showed up for a particular event. We started doing press releases to the different international news organizations based out of Atlanta, and started reaching out to the community and found that their word of mouth was a great way to communicate within the kind of small pockets of people from different countries.
And you're doing something similar to that in promoting the Dogwood Festival this year?
Exactly. For the 73rd festival, what we want to do is bring in a flavor of the international community that exists here in Atlanta. I think a lot of people know just a little bit about it, but really haven't been exposed to it or seen it. So what we're trying to do is reach out to the international community, especially in form of performance arts that are groups that are locally based. I know I saw a lot of that at Centennial Olympic Park. And we want to give them a forum to appear at Atlanta's most loved festival. So different groups that have music or dance or represent their culture would like to reach out to them, have them call us and see if we can't get them a spot on our stages.
And if I'm not mistaken, there's something that you're planning with the consulates or trying to kick off here this year.
That's correct. What we want to do is a little consulate competition, if you will, and we've got a unique idea to do that. We've got golf carts that are necessary to run an event, but it's not artistically based. So our idea is to get consulates to compete, decorate a cart to represent their culture and their country, and then the people can judge which is their favorite. And that will actually add a little bit of fun too, because the art would be traveling through an arts festival and be representing some of the different cultures. So we are reaching out to the consulates or their sponsors or their supporters, their backers, and trying to get them involved in competing with one another to add a little more fun and a little more profile for the different groups.
Yeah, I think the competition would be most enjoyable.
Absolutely.
Do you see this kind of, as you're trying to integrate these communities, do you see it as kind of a bridge for these communities to kind of reach out to the rest of Atlanta that may not be acquainted with the international diversity that we have here in the city?
Most definitely, because you can go in a community and just represent that community amongst itself, and a lot of people outside that group doesn't see that. Or as a foreign individual living in Atlanta, you can go to an Atlanta-based event, but it doesn't represent anything that maybe you're familiar with. What we're hoping to do is take and bridge that gap and represent the cultures through our festival, and also give people a little piece of home at the Dogwood Festival as well. So that's our motive. With my background of living in Europe for over 20 years, it's an element that I miss, and I know a lot of people that have moved from somewhere else may feel comfortable, but every once in a while it's nice to see a bit of home represented in that culture you live in.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
Well, we appreciate that, and if they can reach out, if people are interested, they should just go to our website, which is www.dogwood.org, or they can ring us at 404-817-6642.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.